everybody, and welcome along to a brand new video today where we're continuing looking at the Series 12 trailer and what's going on with it. Apologies, this video's come probably a day later than originally planned. I was hoping to get it yesterday, just didn't quite happen in the end. I hope you guys enjoyed me and Megan's reaction to this trailer, which went up on very, very late Saturday night, so if you haven't seen that, go watch that first and then come and watch this video. But today I want to kind of really break down, dig deep into this trailer and see, going frame by frame and just seeing if we can find out what we can find out from this series, this new trailer, about Series 12, about what we might be seeing in it, about different monsters, different plots, different scenarios, just anything that we'd like to see. I'm going to try and do my best for you guys to try and break it all down. So without any further ado, we'll get straight away stuck into the first shot and work our way through the trailer, sort of a frame by frame, to the extent that I've gone through and screenshotted every interesting shot from the trailer to try and talk you guys through what's going on in it. So this first one shows what looks like some sort of vineyard or something in a nice kind of big country house. I think down on the right hand side there looks like the Doctor, presumably Graham, Ryan and Yaz as well, heading in for whatever reason. I can't really see what that logo says on the sort of gate, by the gate to go in, but it looks quite interesting. It looks quite sort of obviously visually impressive. We believe this is from episode 1 as well, as far as you know. All these various shots of them in the tuxedos and stuff is from the first episode of the series, which is something to look forward to. And it'll be, yeah, I do like having the TARDIS just having plopped there in the middle of the sort of all these weird little trees and everything, and it just looks quite a sort of picturesque place, I think. So it doesn't really tell us that much apart from just some interesting visuals. But let's move on to the next one. So this next shot is a bit of a fun one, showing Jodie doing her the Doctor James Bond style impression. They all look quite impressive in their tuxedos and everything, and it has a slightly weird look to the image, I think, that almost kind of gives the impression of maybe a flashback rather than an actual thing, or it's just a different kind of look of cinematography they've done with this shot. It's hard to say. Again, it doesn't tell us much, but as far as you know, this is also from episode 1 of the series. This shot shows some sort of alien craft, spaceship, something, I don't really know what, flying towards Earth with flames and stuff coming off it. Classic kind of rocket or spaceship, as I say, crashing down to Earth, something like that, which suggests obviously an Earth invasion story, which is pretty standard in Doctor Who. It doesn't tell us much more than that, but that's certainly Earth in the background, and that's some kind of spaceship, so that's something to look forward to, I guess, but we don't really know much about that at the moment. This shot doesn't really actually tell us or show us much. Like, I can't really see anything from the background, and Jodie's not really giving anything away. The only thing I wanted to point out is the fact that she seems to still have the good old dramatic sonic screwdriver action that she had in Series 11, where she'd always extend her arm as far as possible and do it in the most dramatic way. And unfortunately, it looks like she's still doing that, which is a bit of a shame, but it's not exactly a big thing, is it? So just a fun little moment on that one. But now let's have a look at the next one. This is another shot showing a pretty impressive darn spaceship. The CGI looks fantastic throughout this trailer from what I've seen so far. Everything I can spot looks really, really impressively done, continuing the fantastic visuals we saw in Series 11. This showing, yeah, some sort of spaceship shooting a laser beam of some sort down into Earth. Don't really know quite what episode this is in relation to. I mean, we have more information than we did in Series 11, but we still don't exactly have loads of info on what's going on in all the episodes, so I wouldn't be able to confidently predict where this is from. Maybe it's something to do with the opening two-parter or two-parter-ish. I'll get into a bit more of that later on. But yeah, it looks very, very impressive visually, and certainly shows that they're continuing the same sort of production values we saw from Series 11. This is a rather interesting shot we've got here. This is one of these ones that seems to have mostly stumped people as to what it is, what it's in relation to, what episode it is in, anything like that. There we see this weird kind of, certainly largely teethed, weird kind of bone structure down the bottom half of them. Just a very weird looking creature. It doesn't look humanoid. It looks like some sort of alien of some sorts, which is trapped behind some sort of mesh or something, which in the trailer appears to then just destroy in front of it. So clearly quite strong. In terms of what it's actually doing, I don't know, got no idea. Some people are trying to claim it's a Sea Devil. I'm really struggling with that. Like, I would love the Sea Devils to return. I'll talk about that later on. And it is rumoured a little bit, but I cannot see that being an updated Sea Devil personally. I assume it'll be some sort of new nightmare creature-y type thing or something. Some people have talked about the possibility of it being involved with the 1943 Paris story, and it could be some sort of prisoner down in a Nazi camp or something like that, that's just rather deformed for a human being, I guess, maybe. But apart from that, some sort of creepy alien, I guess. Let me know down in the comments below what you guys think it might be. Another fairly inconsequential shot here again, just a pretty cool shot of Jodie in goggles, which looks quite funky. I don't really know what that is in her glasses. The reflection looks like some sort of tall building, possibly, but that's literally all I can get on that. But it just looks like a cool picture, doesn't it, really? I think Jodie looks pretty cool in those glasses, so yeah, that's a fun one. This is back to being a bit of a more interesting one this time. It features Stephen Fry in this brief little scene here where he seems to be setting the Doctor and co off onto some sort of challenge mission that they've got to complete or something along those lines. The rumours I've seen is that Stephen Fry may be playing some sort of like head of MI5 type character, which would be quite intriguing. They've also got a British flag you can see in the background there, so presumably they're in the UK, and he's obviously British as well. It seems to have some sort of connection to it. I know there's some rumours of, could he turn out to be a bad guy by the end of the series? I don't know. We know he's in the first episode, so this scene's definitely in episode 1, which is then linked in with the whole tuxedos and stuff like that, and the explosions and lots going on in the rest of the episode, I think. So this presumably is fairly early on when he's setting them off on whatever mission they're going on. This one is highly likely coincidental, doesn't actually mean anything, but the one thing I've read about and I can actually see a little bit of, which a few people talked about, is on the right hand side there you see those sort of stands with seemingly like sort of bags hanging down from them or something like that. They kind of resemble the sort of fake Cybermen before they were created in World Enough and Time, when they were all shouting pain inside when they were half converted and everything, and the sort of things they were attached to look a bit like what we see in the background there. As I say, it's almost certainly nothing, but it's just intriguing that they look quite similar and is in the back of this particular shot with Stephen Fry. Now this is quite a funny one of Jodie being stuck. Having looked at this again now, I can see looks like the floor, because we've got a table to the right hand side sitting up, so it looks like she's lying on the floor trapped underneath with whoever this woman on the right hand side is. I have no idea. And seemingly on the bottom left there, somebody maybe kneeling down in black, possibly? I don't know, something like that maybe. But yeah, it's quite a funny moment to see Jodie getting trapped again. I think it's from episode 1, given that she's still wearing the tuxedo. Apart from that, it doesn't really give us much away. It almost, part of it looks like it could be a similar setting to what we saw in the previous shot, but then that doesn't also really make any sense. So I guess it probably isn't. Is that a bomb on the left-hand side of Jodie? I don't know. It's quite intriguing. But yeah, just a funny little moment in the trailer, and certainly poses some good questions for episode 1. Now this shot looks like we're moving probably away from episode 1. I mean, it's a guess, but probably away from episode 1, with some sort of spaceship flying away from a planet, a surface, maybe the Earth, but I really don't know. It's impossible to tell. But again, another interesting looking spaceship. I like the fact that all the spaceships we've seen so far look very, very different, which I think is really, really cool, because it shouldn't really be down to the shape. The shape shouldn't be uniform if it's such a big universe and everything, so I quite like that. And that's intriguing for this shot, but it doesn't really tell us much else, does it? This is another intriguing shot that doesn't really tell us very much. I would guess this is on some sort of spaceship or something along those lines. I really don't know which episode it's from, it's hard to say. Given the shots that come after this with a shot of Jadoon, could it be in relation to the Jadoon episode, or it's just the editing of the trailer? No idea. But it's quite a sort of cool, moody kind of mood lighting type interior of a spaceship, which looks quite interesting. Now this is of course one of the things we've been waiting for, one of the few things we've actually known about Doctor Who since like May. Rather randomly they announced that the Jadoon were coming back, but never told us anything else about the whole Series 12 until now. Don't know, BBC, what you're doing there, but it's fine. And this is just a really cool shot of a Jadoon. I think they've done a properly good, like, low-angle cinematic shot of Jadoon, which certainly gives the impression that they're more of a villain, which I think the picture showed as well that we saw back in May. But it's quite intriguing, and given that they were sort of friendly or just kind of police in the past, what their involvement will be in a storyline in Series 11. I believe they're meant to be in around episode 6 or 7 of the series, somewhere around there. I think they're only in a sort of a single part one-off story as far as we know, but that's about all the information we have on it so far. But yeah, this is a pretty cool shot to see the Jadoon. These next couple of shots seem to show a quite sort of startled Graham and Yaz, and then a sort of shocked, or not actually shocked, but just kind of brooding Doctor we see looking around at something there. I'm inclined to say these are from different episodes, or at least different locations based on the way it's shot and the look of them, but I've got no idea what's going on in either of them or what episode they're from. This is certainly one of the more interesting shots in the trailer that very much got people talking. Initially people were talking of the possibility of this being something like the Rachnos or something along those lines, from The Runaway Bride of course, which seemed rather bizarre, but it's not just, I do agree it kind of looks like that, also seemed a little bit of an odd in reality suggestion after having thought about it a little bit more and looking at the eyes and the sort of face of this actress. It seems highly likely that this is something called the Skithra, which is a new alien from the series, and this is actually played by Anjali Mahindra, who played Rani in the Sarah Jane Adventures, of course, from 2006-2010, which is pretty fantastic. And so she's finally going to get her appearance in Doctor Who, but under lots of prosthetics and a mask, playing this weird alien character or creature, which I think we see a little bit later on. This looks like the sort of Queen fully formed version, but I think we see another shot of one when it gets slapped against, sort of launched against some sort of stool later on in this sort of Victorian period looking episode. I think this is what this one relates to, and as I say, it's pretty sure is Anjali Mahindra from the Sarah Jane Adventures originally, which is pretty cool. These next couple of shots also seem to be from the same Victorian setting episode with this person on the left. This chap looks like this Goran Viznijic, or whatever his name. I can't pronounce his surname, let's be honest, I'm not going to try. The actor who was announced on Thursday or Friday of last week as being a guest star in Series 12. We're pretty sure that's him. I'm not sure quite who he's going to be playing. I saw rumours he might be playing somebody like Thomas Edison, which would be quite interesting, but I don't know for sure. And yeah, this, as I say, just looks like a couple of shots from that same Victorian period episode. This shot looks very visually appealing to me. This weird sort of massive, presumably CGI building that we see on some sort of desert plain. Part of me wants to say it's the moon, but it also probably isn't. It's probably just down in some desert or quarry. I've got no idea what episode this is from or what it's in relation to. It's an interesting looking vehicle that's moving along there. It looks sort of military style, maybe something along those lines. But yeah, I really don't know what's going on here. But just it looks visually amazing, I think. These couple of shots again seem to be from the Victorian period episode. There's this Goran chap, who I can't remember his surname, or can't pronounce it again, in shot, having some sort of quick query to the Doctor. And then the other shot, more intriguingly, shows what I think looks like a normal Skithra, whatever a Skithra actually is. And it looks quite an interesting, cool sort of kind of a mix between mechanical but also sort of reptilian type creature, which looks quite interesting. I'll be intrigued to see what their sort of background is, what sort of race they are, what they do, things like that. Certainly it looks like one of the more interesting monsters that we've seen in this trailer, which I'm certainly looking forward to seeing in the actual series. I'm not including absolutely every shot from the trailer in this video, but this next intriguing one shows this car going backwards, I think again from episode 1, as we see a shot of Ryan, who I think looks like in some sort of similar tuxedo type outfit. It's dressed up and looking pretty unhappy about the current situation as they're seemingly reversing down a big main road. I do vaguely remember when they were filming this, I think this must have been back in January of this year now, when I remember all the roads were closed overnight for some sort of night shoot in Cardiff, and it looks like that's what it was from, and as I say, I'm pretty sure it's from episode 1. Well, this is one of the more interesting shots. I find this very interesting device on top of attached to Graham's head, some sort of like brain scanning measurement type thing. I saw some people say, oh, could it be the chameleon arch thing from Series 3 and he could actually be a Time Lord? I mean, it's highly unlikely, but I guess you never know. Maybe this is signs that Graham's picked up some sort of illness, I don't know. It's just quite intriguing really to see why has he got some major device attached to his head, and what could it be for, what purpose could it be for? I really don't know, so that's going to be really interesting, I think. These next few shots, again from episode 1, look absolutely cracking, absolutely brilliant. There's some sort of massive car chase with then the Doctor and co on motorbikes. I was pretty rare to see the Doctor on a motorbike, to be fair. We saw it very briefly in the Matt Smith era, and really apart from that, you're looking back to blooming John Pertwee's era for proper sort of motorbike action from the Doctor, so that's really exciting. Seeing Lenny Henry holding a gun sitting out the back of a massive black Bentley or something looks really cool, really crazy, and like not what you'd expect to see him as a character. So it just looks like it's going to be a properly brilliant, exciting chase scene within this opening episode, which certainly looks like it's going to be a proper high-stakes, big, exciting first episode rather than a more low-key start to the series, which is something I'm really excited for, I would say. This looks like an absolutely stunning shot of 1943 Paris, right in the middle of World War II. Looks like there's a lot of sort of fire in the background, explosions, or maybe they're just lights, but it looks more like fire, I would say, we're seeing in the background. And this episode, we've been told, has got something to do with a person called Noor Inayat Khan, who was a wartime British secret agent who I think is originally of Indian descent, and she was sort of based in Paris around this time as the first female radio operator back in the World War II. Ultimately, I think she was captured and killed, but it's quite an interesting story. I mean, certainly we saw in Series 11 that they'd like to look back on sort of some more well-known and some less well-known sort of historical figures and things like that, so I'd be very intrigued to see if that's what we're going down with this route. I think one of the other intriguing things is that, as far as we know, the Series 12 opener is meant to be a sort of two-parter, but we don't know quite how they're going to be linked because they're written by different people, directed by different people, look pretty separate. So I think this is most likely episode 2, but I'm not sure quite how it's going to be linked to episode 1, if at all. It'll be very interesting to see. This moment sets up a very intriguing sort of story for Series 12. It seems when Jodie's talking about, or the Doctor's talking about, that something's coming for her, kind of classic Doctor Who story arc style mysterious idea that somebody's coming after her or something's coming after her. But it certainly sounds like it's going to be setting up more of a story arc for Series 12, which is certainly exciting. Exactly what's going to be, who knows? Maybe it's something to do with the Cybermen, given the next shot cuts, boom, it's a Cyberman. Maybe that's just the trick of the editing, or maybe that's a bit more of a clue than we thought. I don't know, it'll be very interesting to see. Then, of course, we do have the 2 spectacular shots of the new Cybermen that are going to be in Series 12 in some form. This first one we can see here shows what appears to be a sort of human hand, I would say. A Cyberman design that's not miles apart from what we're used to in previous series, but does look a little bit different. And as I say, has that sort of, human hand look to it, which kind of fits in with some of the rumours around this story. There was rumours of it being something to do with the story of Frankenstein and Mary Shelley. So could it be some sort of Frankenstein-like creation that's being created by in the form of a Cyberman? I don't know, but it just sounds like a very interesting idea and possibility, I would say. And this next shot gives us a better close-up look at this mysteriously rustic Cyberman. The intriguing thing I like to see is sort of you can almost looks like you can see a bit of their neck just underneath the bottom of the head there, or the helmet. It looks like you can see a bit of neck, so maybe it's not really a fully finished Cyberman yet. It's still kind of a partly human one. I don't know, there's just lots of intriguing ideas in that. The other thing that's quite interesting that's worth noting is the sort of filming pictures we saw seem to show very proper gleaming silver Cybermen, not these weird old rusty ones. So is it a possible idea that there's multiple stories featuring Cybermen, maybe a one-off Cyberman story with only maybe 1 or 2 Cybermen, and then a full-blown Cyberman invasion to end the series? Possibly. I don't know, it just seems like a possible idea given, the sort of disparity in that, but it's just a theory at the moment. The Cybermen we've seen here look stunning and really, really sets up an interesting storyline, I think. Now, these next few shots, skipping slightly further on into the trailer, shows these weird sort of bird creatures that seem to be flying around a lot. There's these massive pack of birds that seem to be coming in and attacking whatever kind of almost laboratory type place it looks like we might be seeing here. I've honestly got no idea about this at all. I don't know what episode they're in, what they've got to do with or anything. But yeah, it looks quite interesting. We don't really see that sort of alien or creature or whatever it is. We just don't know what it is. It's really, really intriguing. But yes, it looks like they're certainly quite vicious and kind of trying to attack a bit, which is quite interesting, and flowing in such a massive pack of birds as well. So yeah, we'll have to see kind of how that all plays out, I think. For me, this is actually one of the most intriguing shots of this trailer. These really, really interesting looking sort of white, completely white creatures that have this rather odd shape, some sort of almost hat or helmet on top of them with some sort of stream coming out of the top, whether they're being teleported into somewhere or what, or some sort of ethereal being, I don't know, something like that possibly. But it just looks really, really intriguing as to what it could be. I really, really don't know. I mean, being a nerdy Doctor Who fan, the first thing I thought of was the Vardans from Invasion of Time. I'm sure it's not the Vardans, but it's just quite a funny sort of callback to that, I think. Part of me feels like it might be something to do with the creature that's trying to get in the TARDIS, which we'll get onto in a minute or two. It kind of looks a similar kind of head shape, possibly. But yeah, it just looks like a really interesting shot and a really kind of intriguing, mysterious creature or monster or whatever it may be. The next couple of shots here I'm inclined to say are from episode 2, given the gas masks we've got seeing on them, but then it also really confuses me because they're shooting massive like laser ray gun type things which completely don't fit into World War II at all. So maybe they're trying to disguise themselves by putting the gas masks on, I don't know. It almost gives kind of like Chernobyl type vibes with the sort of outfit they're wearing, but I'm pretty sure it's more World War II we're thinking of with this kind of shot. And therefore episode 2, of course. So yeah, we'll have to see how this all plays into it as well. This is the thing I mentioned earlier, of course, the creature that's trying to break its way into the TARDIS. That I feel like that head shape kind of with that little sort of point on the top kind of gives the vibe that it might be whatever that white creature was that we saw before, which is very, very interesting. I know there's rumours of this some creature that can go through walls that's supposed to be really, really scary apparently. That's certainly something intriguing, and I think this just really, really presents lots of exciting questions and possibilities. Given the TARDIS is supposed to be the one safe place for the Doctor, and suddenly seeing a creature that's able to go through the doors and get inside the TARDIS, that's something we so rarely see in Doctor Who, so I'm really, really interested to see how what's all going to be going on with that, how that's going to happen. In terms of what this creature actually is, I can't really tell. I saw some people talking if it looks a bit like the Demogorgon from Stranger Things. I'm not so convinced. I can kind of see it with the kind of 4 openings sort of within their face, but I think it's more some sort of fixed face figure, I think. But yeah, what it is, who knows? We'll have to wait and see, but it looks like another really interesting and exciting new monster or villain for the series, which is really, really good. This is one of these shots I know has had quite a bit of debate since we saw the trailer in terms of what this figure is that's lying in the water down there. Obviously, for ages there's been rumours about the Sea Devils returning. I've never been quite convinced about it. People are saying, could that be a Sea Devil lying on the floor there in the water? I want to say it is. I really, really want it to be a Sea Devil, but is it actually going to be it? Who knows? It's very hard to tell. From the kind of the look of the setting and then the next couple of shots, I get the impression it's from the same episode that have these birds in. Exactly what's going on in that story, I don't know. And maybe is it's the Sea Devils have learned how to control the birds or something? I don't know. It would be quite an interesting idea if it came about, but more likely that's just one of the main characters or some character, a humanoid character lying on the floor who's got sort of fallen into the water, not a Sea Devil. But you never know. It could be if we're lucky. Here, as I previously mentioned, is all the birds seemingly going past the TARDIS on this kind of beachy setting, which I think is the same setting that we saw from the previous shot as well. So yeah, could it be Sea Devils and the birds being involved together? I don't know, but it'd be very interesting if they were. This is certainly one of the shots that got people talking, seeing Yaz shedding a tear for the first time. Maybe it's the first time a character's actually done anything to do, but I kid. We all obviously wonder what she's feeling sad about. It can't be Ryan dying because Ryan's in shot. Could it be Graham dying, or something happened to Graham, or the Doctor, or something like that? I don't know, but it's just quite intriguing to see a tear coming out. What could she be really, really sad about? Then these last few shots here, just to finish out the trailer, seem to show pretty much all our main characters, well, except Ryan, in a lot of pain, trouble, bother, things really not going to plan at all, which is to some degree classic trailer shots, but also looks quite interesting to what could be happening and what could be putting them in these situations and making them feel rather uncomfortable, and things really, really aren't going very well. I'm inclined to say that somebody's going to die in this series, just because it seems highly unlikely that you're going to have all the characters making it through to a third series. It just seems unlikely, so brace yourselves with that, guys, but yeah, which of them? Who knows? And so that concludes the trailer, guys. For me, it was a very, very exciting one, which it kind of gives a lot more, I think, things to get excited about than the Series 11 trailer did, maybe, whereas it felt like the Series 11 one. I watched it back recently, sort of after watching the Series 12 trailer, and it shows some good kind of visuals of alien planets and stuff like that, but it doesn't actually show any monsters, for a start. And so basically just kind of shows us the new characters, which I can kind of understand the marketing idea behind because it was a whole new team. But I think that it just didn't look really exciting enough in retrospect for Series 11, whereas this Series 12 trailer really looks like there's lots going on. There's lots of big exciting episodes, big explosions, lots of aliens involved in the series and things like that. It just kind of makes everything look really, really exciting rather than just looking kind of visually impressive, but not really anything to get hyped about. So I'm really, really pleased with what the Series 12 trailer has given us, and certainly it gives me a lot of optimism for what the series is going to bring, I think. So I've given you guys my theories, but now it's over to you. You let me know down in the comments below what you think is going to happen, if you've got any particular screenshots you saw in there of what you sort of theorise, what you think is going to be going with the Cybermen maybe. Do you think that's a Sea Devil in the water? What could be happening to the main characters who look in a lot of pain at points? I'd love to hear what you guys have to say on your thoughts and theories for Series 12. But apart from that, guys, I hope you've enjoyed this video. I'll be back again very, very soon for another one. As always, hit that like button, that subscribe button. I'll see you again for a new one very soon. Goodbye.